What is going on, everybody? It is Kinch. Welcome back to Barwick, and we are here on the battlefield at the end of our war from finished up yesterday, 88-85 victory for us. And y'all, I wanted to make this video last night, but I think I was so emotionally spent from this war that I couldn't stay awake long enough to do it. And it's not often that we run into a clan that we can't triple all their bases. I imagine it will happen more as we get more and more Town Hall 18s because it's not as regular to 3-star Town Hall 18s, at least not yet. But this one was a train wreck from beginning to end. I don't know how else to put it. Like, we just have to own that. I think at one point I looked, and out of our first 22 attacks, only 11 of them were triples. So that's half of our attacks were 3 stars, which essentially means, to keep this in mind, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more, that means half of our attacks were wasted up to that point. And we kind of continued on that trend. One thing I always say, and I've pointed this out before, especially in wars where we've lost, is I feel like sometimes it becomes a little contagious, like the bad stuff that goes on. Um, so we did not 3-star this base or their top base. Now we only took like 2 cracks at the top base, but at like this base here is really not that hard for a Town Hall 17. Let me rephrase. And I failed it. I failed it worse than Couch failed it, who 98% is obviously who was really close. And so that's 2 of us, and I can't remember if other people attacked it as well, but that's 2 of us who both wasted attacks and didn't secure that star. But where I knew it was going wrong is I get this message from Itchy, and he's like, I don't know, flailing about, oh my gosh. And then if we go back and watch his replay, and I know he won't mind me sharing this because this stuff happens to everybody. It's kind of funny to look at now. Now, before we watch this base is really not very hard. You can see it's pretty rushed in spots. Like, it's got this little archer tower there. A lot of its defenses are like of the Town Hall 14 or even 16 variety. A lot of Town Hall 15 stuff. It's not a very difficult base. It is extremely rushed. And not as rushed as Itchy's, as he was quick to point out to me, but it is pretty rushed base, and that's fine. That's not a judgment. That just is what it is. But if we watch this, you can see what goes wrong really quickly. So here he goes. He drops his RC, and then he recalls him. Now, anyone know what he was trying here? And then he drops an invis, and then he drops the RC again. So what happened was I think he clicked on his recall instead of his invisibility spell, so he recalled them immediately. And what this does is it essentially leaves his RC to die, which is a major source of damage for him, and so it just kind of spiraled out of control from there. I think we can all relate to where we've been in that situation where something goes wrong and then like it feels like everything's moving too fast for us to recover. I think the big problem here is he didn't end up getting this spitter over here, and then it just spiraled out of control. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because in any of our past, say, 10 wars, if Itchy does this, it's not a big deal at all because we've been attacking relatively well, and so we have plenty of people to cover. In this one, we really needed this attack. We didn't have a lot left to take out the top bases. And of course, he makes this mistake on the war where it's going wrong. But not only is it contagious within our clan, I don't know if you guys know how aided we were by their top base, 0-star and Couch. That's a disconnect. So he didn't get any stars, and that may have well been the difference. If he gets that, then they can pick up some other stars across the map. So this one, was just a little bit of a calamity across several fronts. To be honest, when that stuff happens, it starts to drive me crazy because there's no way we should have lost this war, and I'm really glad we didn't. And as I think it was Strike who said, an ugly win is better than a pretty loss, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. But we ran into a lot of problems here that I really don't think we should have. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. So I had a few conversations with different individuals in the clan. I had these conversations individually, and I want to remind us of a couple things and kind of challenge people on a different front as well, or on a similar front, I guess I should say. Number one, it's really important that we all acknowledge that Clash of Clans is set up on the side of the attacker, meaning it is meant for attackers to succeed. That's just the way it is. Like, there's no two ways about it. They have developed this game so that if you know what you're doing, you can three-star your town hall level. And I'll say every time, I want to be really clear. Like, I will never, ever be after perfection because everyone makes mistakes, and that's going to happen. I think I've said before, like, someone's going to be walking through the kitchen while they're doing their attack and drop their phone, and it sets you off track and whatever. So these things are going to happen. But if you cannot currently three-star town halls that are your town hall level, and I'm saying like 95% of the time, then you are either not using a good enough army or you are not using it properly. And there's just no two ways about that. The game is not trying to cheat you. You're not getting unlucky. You're not just unfortunate. You're doing something wrong. And if anyone saw me try to learn Root Riders, you know I'm part of that, right? Like, when I was learning Root Riders and I was terrible at them, it wasn't because Root Riders weren't fair. It wasn't because my pathing was different than all the guys who could three-star. It's because I had to learn it. I say that to be really clear that the expectation is not that you're perfect, and the expectation is not that you three-star every base that you've ever faced, but the expectation is that you are working towards that. And if you are running the same army comp every time and you are failing every time and you are not trying to improve, that's a problem. That weighs heavy on your clanmates because now your clanmates have to be responsible for the bases that you can't three-star. At present, we have tons of resources at our disposal to help us improve and be better at this game. You can watch at a minimum. I will tell you that if you would just watch the replays of the guys in the clan that are regularly getting three stars, um, you can improve dramatically just from that alone. And that would take you just a couple minutes. And then I promise you, anyone in this clan, and some more than others, but just about anyone in this clan, if you see an attack that you like and you at them and say, "Hey, how do you decide where to start your attack?" Or if you drop a replay and you say, "Hey, this is what I did and it's not working. What can I do to improve?" I promise you, you will get feedback from me in particular, but from several people. Um, Most of you know that I learned my Root Rider attacks from Boss and Bam, who Bam comes back and visits us regularly. But Boss comes in, he has several accounts, so he's in several different clans, but he'll come back and drop some new attacks on us for us to try. I think that's where Strike has really gotten his groove at Town Hall 18 with the Super Bowler attack that he's been using and doing really well. So we've got a plethora of resources here within our clan. There's kind of no excuse for you not to be able to do better. And again, that is not expecting perfection, but I think it's really fair to set the expectation that you should be either able to three-star your opposition town hall or you should be really close. You should be working towards it and really close. I want to transition to something semi-related to this whole topic, and that is my live streams. I've live streamed the past couple weeks. My plan is to continue to do that, and Tuesday nights seems like a good night for my schedule. I want to be really clear. I am doing these live streams because I enjoy it. That's simply it. This is not a plug for you guys to tune in. If you guys want to come in and tune in, totally awesome. If not, also totally awesome. I'm just doing it because for me, it's just kind of fun and relaxing. But what I've been doing in those live streams is ranked attacks. And so that might be another good source of information for you guys because while I'm doing those, I try anyway. I'm not like the best streamer, but I try to break down why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that might help you learn some new attack strategies. So with that being said, if there's some attack strategies you want to see, let me know and I'll try them out on live stream. And then if you can't catch the live stream, you can always catch the replay. And I would definitely not necessarily recommend watching the whole hour, although maybe you want to. But tune in for a little bit, see a few attacks, and get an idea for some things that might be helpful for you. I want to point this out because this is how my hero haul looks on the weekends more often than not. This is Saturday night. I've got 3 of my heroes down. I actually had 4 down. I had the Dragon Duke down as well a little while ago, but he just finished upgrading. I know that upgrading heroes is kind of the bane of this game, and there's reasons for that. The main reason that it remains this way is because this is, I think, the number one way that Supercell makes money, because people buy things to help expedite their hero upgrades. And so I do not want to take that away from Supercell, to be quite honest. I think they do a really good job of making a really good game. And so be it. With that being said, I think a couple of tips that I could offer. One of the reasons why we only war twice a week is so that we have the weekends to kind of do this. So typically, I try to attack as early as I can on the second war of the week. So we're usually attacking on Thursday and into Friday. This is all US time. And the second that I'm done attacking, I try to upgrade heroes. I can't do it every weekend, or sometimes I get my builders tied up. But that's what I do. I upgrade them all, and then when I use builder potions, which I think I'm out of right now, I'll have to buy some more. But I typically buy builder potions, and then that speeds them up so that I can have them done by Tuesday, right? Or I guess it'd be Monday afternoon, because we start wars midday Sunday. So these ones you can see. The Grand Warden, as it stands right now, would not be ready for war in time. The Archer Queen would just be ready for war, or she'd just be ready to attack. Because really, I just need her ready sometime between midday Monday and midday Tuesday. So that's one tip that I'd have. I would also encourage you guys to make sure you're doing your raid attacks, and then over in the raid shop, the raid medals, you can get hero potions and power potions. I use those every war attack. To be quite honest, I don't remember when the kind of light bulb went off. I just started realizing I couldn't find a good reason not to. We get at minimum usually about 1,200 raid medals a week. I use those to buy starry ore. Sometimes I use them to buy a little bit of glowy ore. And then I use a little bit to buy a hero potion or a power potion or 2. We don't always even need those. If you guys are doing this challenge, you can get some mighty morsels and some, I think there are some power pancakes, but I think I used them already. So things like that, or when they have events and chests come out. So you can always have your heroes at max level for war attacks. I don't typically boost my stuff for ranked battles, but sometimes I pair them. So if I use a power potion and a hero potion, I'll do my war attacks, and then I try to do my ranked battles right afterwards. So I have an hour to do them, and then I have my heroes maxed. But to be honest, I don't typically have the ability to do that. I typically do my ranked battles kind of sporadically throughout the week. But if I can, I do that. So just a couple tips so that you can kind of always have your heroes available. They're not always going to be max, but you can always have them available, and then you can use potions and some of those, I forget what they call them, treats, clan treats. I don't know what they call those, snacks, whatever the heck those things are called, to constantly have max heroes and troops when you're attacking in war. Before I finish up this video, I want to leave you with one last thing just for fun. It's like a campfire story of the old times, the good old days. So for those of you who don't know, I played this game a long time ago. I ran a clan for about 2.5 years, something like that. We were really pretty good. We weren't like the best. Probably not quite as good as Barwick is, but we were close. It was different times back then as well. So like, oh, well, I'll have to, maybe I'll do this every time I do some clan news. I'll give a little campfire story about how the game used to be for those who don't know. Um, but anyway, I was looking through my bookmarks on my ridiculous account, and I have so many clans bookmarked that I don't even know why. But I will tell you one. There's two things, two clans we're gonna look at. The one is this good game no re. This is one of the few clans that we battled that beat us and beat us because they were better. And I say that because back in the day, like it was hard to organize battles and you couldn't select rosters, and it was like to think back on it compared to how it is now, it was kind of a nightmare. So I always remember this clan. They were very, very good. They demolished us, and they were probably one of the few clans where when we warred against them, I was like, "Ooh, yeah, no, we can't beat these guys." Most every other war, I always felt like we should be able to beat these guys. That doesn't mean we always did, but this was one of the few clans that did that. But the other one that I want to look at, if you scroll, if you keep stay with me here, and we scroll down, you see I have about 6 clans here that I have bookmarked, but there's no information. The first one on here is this clan called the Red Line. And if you read their descriptions, they're clearly taking a shot at One Hive. So I want to explain a little bit about this just because it's kind of fun. So back in the day, there was no such thing as a friendly war. And so there was no way to organize like who you could war against. And there was this clan. I think a lot of you have heard of him now because Eric from One Hive was very popular until he just got canceled. But One Hive was like this clan where there was content out on YouTube. And I want to say the main guy who made One Hive content was a guy named Jake, if I remember correctly, but don't trust my memory on that. But he was constantly putting out videos about their war attack strategies. And theirs were like very, very different than what the masses were doing. So where a lot of us were running like a lot of dragons or hog riders were extremely popular, he was one of the first to kind of document in YouTube videos the hybrid attacks where you would start off, or I'll say a phased attack, where you'd start off with like maybe a queen walk, and then you'd transition into something like the old lava loon or something like that. And so everyone was kind of amazed at how good these guys from One Hive was. Well, a few players got together and they formed this clan. You can see it's only level 2. And if we look at their war log, they only had 4 wars and they tied one of them. I do think there was some people within the community that didn't think One Hive was as good as they were perceived to be, and so they got together and they had a war. And I just remember it was like kind of like this underground thing. I don't think it got much. I don't think there was anything about it on like YouTube or anything like that, but kind of everyone in the community knew about this war. And here we have this clan that you can't get to anymore. I mean, I have it bookmarked, and so if I ever unbookmark it, you can't get back to it. I mean, I don't know of a way to get back to it. But these are the guys that beat One Hive 118 to 115. And at the time, that was big news. I just remember it, or, like it was talked about online and in global chat. That's a whole nother global chat's a whole nother campfire story. But so that's your little walk down memory lane with me. I was just thinking about this, the time that the Red Line beat One Hive. And then after they did that, they discontinued the clan. Kind of cool. Little piece of Clash of Clans history for you right there. All right, that's all I got for now. Peace out. You guys have a great weekend. I look forward to warring with you again, and we'll see you on the battlefield.